what are my long-term care options? Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and today I'm going to give you an orientation to the long-term care options provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs. And as you're going to see in a second, these options span the range of the types of services that veterans need and the different ways that the VA goes about providing them. It is a long list, and I'm going to try to just hit the high points. Bear in mind that most of the facilities and services we're going to talk about are not operated by the VA. That means that they have their own standards of eligibility, rules, costs, and so on. And while the VA website is a nice place to start, it might not be the final authority for some facilities. All right, to get started, the VA website has a special subdomain called Geriatrics that focuses on geriatric and extended care issues for veterans. There's a lot of links here, but the two that really matter for today's discussion are home and community services and residential settings and nursing homes. I'm going to touch on all of these options along a continuum of care, basically starting at the simplest and then moving upwards from there. We're going to start with home and community services, and fundamentally, these are options that are designed to keep a veteran sleeping in their own home and in their own bed at night. At the lowest level, you have telehealth. This is when the VA uses technology to provide easier access to care. The idea is to reduce travel time and expenses by using telephone calls, video conferencing, and remote monitoring. Now, I would not get too excited about this. I mean, on one hand, telehealth is transforming the way that the medical world works, but on the other hand, it tends to focus on the simplest and most routine activities. The next level is home health aid care. In this situation, a trained person comes to the veteran's home and helps them deal with certain daily activities. Now, a home health aide is not a nurse. They're just supervised by a registered nurse who helps determine what exactly the veteran's daily needs are. The next level is skilled home health care. This is for veterans who need nursing, case management, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, wound care, maybe IV antibiotics. It's meant to be short-term care. Maybe the veteran is moving from a hospital or a nursing home back to their own home. But in some special cases, it can also provide ongoing care for people with special needs. Before I go on, I want to make the point that the VA contracts for companies to provide these services. You see, VA money is getting spent, but you aren't actually getting service from the VA. As a result, you're likely to be getting a level of care that's very similar to other people within your same community, but two veterans in different parts of the country might experience different levels of care simply because of the care that's available in the place that they live. All right, next, you have home-based primary care. This is for veterans who need team-based in-home care for an ongoing illness. Typically, this is for illnesses that affect daily activities and make it difficult to travel to regular office visits, although that's not a requirement. This program can also help veterans who are isolated. Okay, those are the options that form the levels of home care. And then there's 3 programs that are designed to reduce the burden on caregivers. The first one is just veteran-directed care. This is for veterans who need some type of support with daily activities, bathing, dressing, fixing meals. But the veteran, maybe with the help of a representative, is able to arrange those services themselves. In effect, the program provides the veteran with a budget, and then the veteran or their representative contracts for the services. I guess the idea here is that control over these decisions helps reduce stress about them. The next program, Adult Health Daycare, seems like the most fun. I mean, this one is for veterans who have a caregiver who provides all the support they need, but the veteran just needs a place to go during the day. What I think is neat about this option is that it adds social activities and peer support and recreation to the veteran's life. I mean, most of these home and community services are really focused on keeping the veteran in their home. But this one is about getting the veteran out and engaged in a wider community. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. The other thing about adult day healthcare is that health services like nurses or social workers or therapists, well, they may be available because of where the adult daycare is being operated. It might just be co-located with a VA medical center or a state veterans home or some other community health organization. The final program targeted at reducing the burden on caregivers is respite care. This program pays for short breaks while caregivers either run errands or they go out of town for a couple of days. And so there's two kinds of respite care. Home respite care pays for someone to come to the veteran's home so that the primary caregiver can go get a break. And nursing home respite care pays for a veteran to go to a nursing home for a couple of days while caregivers go out of town. Of course, there's limits on the length of these stays. They should be planned well in advance, and services may vary based off of location. Now, one of the interesting things that the VA says about this respite care is that it's designed to lower stress on the veteran and their family caregivers. In effect, respite care is designed to keep a veteran comfortably and affordably in their home for as long as possible. Now, there are two additional types of home health care that are really about living with an illness and the inevitable end. These are palliative care and hospice. Palliative care focuses on relieving suffering and controlling symptoms so that a veteran can continue with day-to-day activities. It aims at improving quality of life, and it can be combined with other healthcare services that are meant to control or cure an illness. Hospice care, it's a bit different because it provides comfort care to a veteran who has a terminal illness, someone who has less than 6 months to live and really isn't seeking any kind of care other than palliative care. Many people opt for in-home hospice care, but you can also receive it like at an outpatient clinic or an inpatient setting. Now, I will say that the VA website has an unnerving comment about that inpatient hospice care. They say that veterans seeking inpatient hospice care at a VA nursing home should check the survey results for hospice care. I don't know why exactly it's necessary to say that, but the implications. Well, at any rate, that brings us to the end of the home and community options and transitions us into the residential settings and nursing homes. Let's get started with residential rehabilitation for traumatic brain injury. And the reason that I want to start with this one is because, well, it's kind of a one-off from the truly geriatric kind of options we've been discussing, but it highlights an important aspect of how the VA handles these residential scenarios. You see, this is a residential rehabilitation program that the VA purchases on behalf of veterans with brain injuries that have special needs. The VA purchases the services provided at the facilities, but the VA is prohibited from paying the full cost of the program. Instead, the veteran has to pay for room and board, typically like $30 or $40 a day. The real point here is that the VA seems to draw a distinction between a program and a facility, between services and rent. That distinction shows up with the community residential care option. And this is meant for veterans who, they don't need a hospital, they don't need a nursing home, but they can't live alone because of some condition. This level of care is provided at a whole host of different facilities with different names. There's like 550 across the nation. Essentially, the VA inspects and approves a facility, and then the veteran chooses where they want to live. Then, as a veteran needs more care, they may graduate to a higher level facility. One of the more common is an assisted living facility, where a veteran may rent a room or an apartment. There may be some shared spaces, like a dining room, and the veteran may have their own kitchen or kitchenette. What makes an assisted living facility special is that there is a caregiver on duty 24/7 to help the veteran with the needs of daily living. As I said before, the VA does not pay for the veteran's rent. Instead, the VA pays for some of the additional services that a veteran may need while staying at an assisted living facility. Now, in a second, we're going to start talking about honest-to-God nursing homes. But before we do that, the VA has two options that are designed to keep veterans in a more residential setting. The first option is an adult family home. These are private homes where a couple of veterans, usually 6 or fewer, rent rooms. These homes have shared common space, and the veteran may share a bathroom or a bedroom with another resident. Adult family homes include a trained caregiver who's on duty 24/7 to help with those daily activities. The VA may also pay for a health professional, like a nurse, to come to the adult family home and provide a veteran with a higher level of care when needed. Again, the VA does not pay the rent, but the VA does pay for some of the extra services. A higher level of care comes from a medical foster home. Similar to an adult family home, this is a private home that has a caregiver on duty 24/7. The difference is that a medical foster home is for veterans who need a nursing home but prefer a less institutional and more residential setting. And that brings us to nursing homes. And we're basically going to talk about ones that are run by the VA, contracted by the VA, and run by the state. The VA likes to call their nursing homes community living centers. And one of the points that the VA makes is that while these facilities can provide a nursing home level of care, it's only in rare circumstances that a veteran would stay at one of these facilities for life. It seems like these are mainly designed to provide care for a short period of time. The VA website says that the mission of these community living centers is to restore each veteran to their highest level of well-being. So these facilities seem like less of a destination and more of a way station. Oh, and there's only about 100 of these community living centers across the nation. So for a lot of veterans, staying at one of them means living somewhere far from friends or family. This contrasts with the so-called community nursing homes, where a veteran may stay long-term and receive skilled nursing care day and night. The VA contracts with these community nursing homes in many locations, and that means that a veteran should be able to find a location that keeps them close to their home and their friends and family. The final option is state veteran homes. These are facilities owned, operated, and managed by individual state governments. They provide a variety of different levels of care, and the relationship is that the VA certifies and inspects the facility. Now, despite this being a long video, it just barely gives us the lay of the land. There are a lot more details, so if you have questions or recommendations about where to go next, please leave a comment. And if you want to learn more about state veterans homes, watch this video.